The spell of bad luck that had kept Rex in chains or in bandages seemed to be coming to an end. Following the advice of a fan, he had left his mercenary company behind to seek fame and fortune as a prize fighter. Rejoined by his old companions in Massilia, he had made the long journey east to the lands of the Asceti on the edge of the world. His exploits on the tournament grounds made the sore feet more than worth it.
There he is, the champion!
A cheer went up as Rex walked into the hall of Lord Fulco. It was decorated with carvings and weavings very similar to those back in Benatia, with not a hint of the crimson-painted cloth of the Roman world. Clearly these people were familiar with the other free lands, as Rex was recognised not just as a Celt, but as a Gael.
We've had a few decent Gaels through here over the years, Lord Fulco explained. Something about you people that always breeds perceptive warriors. As if you don't really believe that the gods are looking out for you.
Rex laughed along at the apparently hilarious banter, but felt obliged to set the record straight. There is another reason, my lord. The Romans prey on us daily. It is like our gods have been shut out by something.
How many Romans have you killed?
I lost count.
Oh, he lost count! Big talk from the little man.
It was probably meant as a joke, but Rex took this remark as an indignity and did something potentially quite stupid.
See this?
He asked, pulling off his bracer to reveal his slave's mark.
A few of you must have seen these before. I was a Roman slave, and here I am walking free as the best blade in Duna. Think I got here without killing Romans? Hey, Erdent, my good man, I believe you, okay? We all believe you. It is our custom to cast doubt, you see.
I do see.
The Great Mother will attest that in truth I trust you. In fact, I happen to need a well-travelled man to help me with something. You'll like it. Something to help you kill more Romans. Just need to make sure you're the right man for the job.
Hello there and welcome back to Rex Romanum. We are here in the mists of Duna participating in another one of their tournaments. We're actually in the final round here against an opponent who is pulling the classic I see you're blocking with a spear dance. It does make it a bit difficult to attack because the enemy can sometimes attack suddenly in the middle of the dance while you're trying to attack them and get a hit in. But in this case, we do manage to take him down and make some money, not as much as before, because every time you win a tournament, the odds of you winning increase. So if you bet on yourself, you don't make as much money, basically, but you do still make a decent amount. At this point, I've got over 9,000 gold, which normally would be the amount you need to buy a business, a pretty decent business as well, which is what we need to continue the campaign in general. It gives you a small income, so you're not constantly scrabbling for money just to sustain your day-to-day existence. However, in this mod, the cost of businesses is much, much higher than it is normally, so I'm going to take a huge liberty and just buy one anyway by giving myself the money, because I was very disappointed to find the prices on these things were so high, because it just means it will take absolutely ages to get ourselves up and running. So let's just say the lord of this place was so impressed with us that he actually gave us a big discount on this Vinter that I've now purchased, so in 7 days we'll start making some money off that, and that will be enough money to sustain our little mercenary company just fine. So now that we've set that up, I go back to looking for tournaments, but I was unable to find any for a long time. I headed south in search of more rumours of tournaments, and while I was there, I encountered a strange battle where you can actually fight wild boars, as it turns out, and if you kill them, they'll drop some meat for you. So we quickly run one of them through with a lance. I think there might have been another one somewhere, but I just fell back and it gave me some loot and a fur coat on top of the meat. Pretty nice. In theory, I could go on and attack the rest, but not much point. I ended up heading to the west in search of tournaments, and after finding nothing, decided to pass the time by getting some revenge. The Sea Raiders are still here from earlier, however because their base has gone, they haven't been respawning here, and they've been gradually whittled down by all the encounters they've gone through with AI parties, meaning there's just lots of small groups of Sea Raiders with loads of prisoners. I thought this is perfect for us, we can just swoop in and get some revenge, free all the prisoners. The first attempt doesn't go very well, as you can see. I get lanced off my horse, luckily no wounds there. And because the enemy party isn't very big, this small group of levies and serfs that I got together to fight this battle for us does bring us victory. It actually went surprisingly well. We only killed one guy, I think. And because these enemy parties had absolutely loads of prisoners, that means after this first win we can actually put together a proper combat party with loads of Roman troops and the like in it, which will make it extra easy for us to go on and kill the rest. The next group we saw was just 15 men with 144 prisoners, and most of those prisoners still have their weapons and armor. They should really try and overthrow their captives. But anyway, this time I took a more conservative approach, allowing the enemy to charge our line of shields, and then getting in there myself afterwards to fight where it's much safer. We're not going to get lanced off our horse right away. Some of the enemies went behind our line to attack our heroes. I came over to help, and now the conservatism goes out the window. I'm starting to get stabbed up, and again I do get hit off my horse. This time I actually do take a wound. I get -1 agility. However, those wounds do actually go away. They're not completely permanent. I think someone mentioned in the comments somewhere that as long as you don't take another wound while you have a wound, the wound will disappear after some unknown amount of time. I've seen a couple of my -1 strength wounds go away over the course of the game, so it's not actually permanent. So we cleared out this general area, but there was one more interesting fight when 7 Sea Raiders decided to ambush our party, which is now more than 70 strong. This is the strongest we've ever been, thanks to all the prisoners I've rescued. And yes, as you might expect, those 7 men will struggle to take us down, but they're still going to try. They actually launched the ambush. Rex quickly takes down these first 2. It took a while to end this fight because one of the enemies was stuck on top of this tower. Luckily it was possible to climb up the steps and take him down on foot. So we did win in the end. Now that the bandits in this area have been crushed, I wanted to use this party I've built to go and crush the other bandits that gave us trouble down to the south. Might as well, since we're suddenly stronger than we've ever been. And I happen to know that one of the Romans down there is offering a decent sum of money for hunting the bandits as well. Might as well take advantage of it. Exploits on the tournament grounds may have made Rex famous in the free lands that bordered the world, but in Gaul it was his crusade against the Sea Raiders that finally brought him some acclaim. Hundreds of freed prisoners returned to their homes, taking with them the stories of Erland the Champion, the nationless war hero who would come and go as he pleased so long as there was no foul business for him to unearth. Those that had chosen to stay beside their saviour now followed him south, where revenge was said to await any who had suffered at the hands of outlaws. Rex's companion, Eadfrith, had other things on his mind.
So, that whole thing with the temple in Iberia. I mean, are you telling me that you weren't saving all that up for a girl?
It was just for a good cause, Rex said, shaking his head as he doubted even his own words.
Sore point, is it? Don't mind that money. I think Elfwin isn't going to be that much of a drag.
Elfwin?
Your little project in Massilia. The Knight of One Eye. Cyclops thinks you should try again.
Really?
Oh yes. I mean, if you want my advice, it's a low bar to be jumping for a champion. Jump away, though. Maybe the Greek has some tips on the art of love.
Agasicles had run up to the head of the column, having overheard certain conversations occurring further back.
Just thought I'd let you know, Captain, that some of the men seem to recognize you. The old you, that is. I think some of your old footmen were in those hangers-on we acquired. They know my real name. That, or they're talking non-stop about some king. Sorry to break the news.
What should we do?
Nothing, I'd say. They aren't going to hand you back to Londinium, are they?
Rex's silent stare into the distance gave Eadfrith his chance to jump in.
Agazicles, don't happen to have any tips on seducing a female for the champ, do you? Keeping them all for a book on the matter, I'm afraid. Save up and you'll get a copy before it all stops working down there, I assure you.
Rex left the couple to begin another argument, and didn't speak to anyone until they happened upon Lunius Maximus of Massilia. The rumours from the ranks stayed there, and soon Erland the Champion had a hefty contract to finance his project of revenge. I happened upon a bandit base, went and quickly grabbed a quest to destroy it so we could get some money from making an assault, and here we are. It's really just our companions here this time, plus one guy confusingly called Bandit, so hopefully he'll be fine fighting his fellow professionals. The battle gets started, and we're going to have an easy time since the enemy are going to be attacking us in lots of small groups, and while we're a small group we're still going to be twice their size in terms of a local advantage, plus Rex can just hack people down, especially when they're distracted. We're at the point where we can kill most enemies in one hit, since these guys aren't wearing much armour, so we just hack our way forwards. They are going to be respawning behind us and on our flanks because they spawn out of these caves, and the map's really small, so they tend to spawn right next to you. But, as we saw there, they also take a while to activate their AI after they spawn, so you can sometimes quickly kill them before they even do anything. A couple more spawn from the cave on the right there. Oliver's going after one, looks like he gets him, and we quickly dispatch the other. So yes, the fight was relatively easy. Here's the ending. We pushed on towards this hut where there were a few more enemies, and Rex and companions quickly take them all down. We've captured their base. That means we're going to get a whole load of loot, which will be worth quite a lot of money, get some food, which is always handy since our party is now absolutely giant and gets through food really quickly. It's actually getting quite expensive. And of course we've completed the quest, so we can go back to Massilia and get loads of money and XP from Lunius Maximus. I started disbanding some of my party members to deal with the food situation. We're going to get rid of all of the cheaper, weaker troops first, since they still eat food while not contributing as much to our efforts. I wanted to try and take down a couple of the bandit parties in the area, since that was the original reason I came here. I want to get some revenge while I have all these troops in my employ. But my party's too slow at the moment. I couldn't catch up with these small bandit parties. I ended up giving up and going to hand in the quest. I eventually find Lunius after searching for quite a while. It seems they were fighting with invaders from Caledonia actually, who aren't here anymore, but they're still on patrol for them. We grabbed the XP and the money, and then curiously after this I asked him if he had any more quests for me, and he happens to have the exact same quest again. Well, I thought I might as well take this because if it's anything like the Sea Raider base, after you destroy that bandit base, it will just respawn pretty much in the exact same location, meaning it will be easy for us to find it. So I thought, fine, let's get that money and XP again. That was really easy. I went back over to look for it, and this time found some bandit parties that I actually could fight. Here, a nice big group of over 40 enemy soldiers, but because we've got over 60, I have no qualms at all about getting into the battle. This was another case where the enemy were mostly archers, so they just waited on their side of the map, and I had to advance through the arrows towards them. But with so many Roman troops in our party, that's not so bad. Advancing into arrows is their speciality. I dodged behind the enemy line to take out their commander, who was sitting on his own, and now our heavy infantry will crush into the enemy's archers and start taking them out. And the distraction provided allows us to bag a few extra kills as well. Not actually attacking very well here, but we do manage to kill a few of them. And since the enemy are getting distracted by my presence, it's helping my infantry out. So even though I'm not contributing hugely, I think we probably saved a few lives on our own side. After the victory, there was another group nearby that was coming right at us, so I decided to reciprocate and go right for them. It's only a small group of 20-something enemies, and this time they charged right at us. We had a nice hill position we could sit on. I did a really bad charge through the enemy ranks that didn't do anything, but again, just being there does achieve something indirectly because it distracts the enemy. They're not attacking our main position very well, since their eyes are trained on this random guy who's just riding around thrusting at nothing. Eventually, this party is destroyed as well. I think we won this battle without any losses at all, just a few wounds, which is always nice. Although at this point we could use downsizing our party a little bit, so cynically speaking, losses wouldn't be the end of the world. After that battle, I was looting the party, and during the 3-hour loot period I was attacked again by some other party. This time it's nearly 60 guys and we've only got about 50, so now the enemy have the advantage, in terms of numbers at least, and it's an encampment battle, so we're going to be attacked with no formation and no time to set anything up. It's going to be a bit chaotic, but here we go. They're attacking us with caravan troops at first, including a caravan master and some caravan guard cav, but they don't last very long because they attacked on their own. Now for the main body of the bandit infantry. A lot of them are sitting around just outside the camp trying to shoot in. I was going to run at them on my own, but then thought against it and came back inside to help our men in the melee. Agastocles goes down there, but the distraction he provided does help me take down these enemies. Now I'm going to run over to help Baghdata, who is dealing with an enemy right there. Those archers need to be taken down, and Rex can do it on his own, really. You can see I just run out and start hacking left, right and centre. Multiple enemies go down, and a few of my troops followed me out to provide ample distraction for finishing off the rest. That brings the fight to an end. There were a lot more enemies, but I just never saw them because they were on the other side of that tent. There's a nice pile of bodies showing where the fight took place. We did lose a load of troops, and a whole load more were wounded, so our party isn't well able to fight anymore. We'll retreat back to Massilia after this. One interesting thing that happened was in the loot we found a particularly special sword. While Clodolf saw to the nasty cut on Agastocles' face, Baghdata marched up to Rex and Eadfrith brandishing a Dullan sword.
Good news, champion. I have recovered from the enemy the legendary sword, Gianwyn, Blade of Fire, and one of the great treasures of Britannia. There is no man alive today more worthy of it than you.
Eadfrith took the sword from Baghdata's hands and looked closely at the uneven blade.
Rust. Maybe it takes 2 eyes to notice it. Not rust. Even a Briton like you cannot see it. Then I shall explain. Those marks are burns. Burns from the flame that the magic blade produces when the sword is drawn by a true hero. Rex, take it in your hand.
Rex took hold of the sword, but didn't get his hopes up. There's no sheath, he noted.
What?
How can I unsheath the sword to use the magic if it's already unsheathed? Either the magic doesn't work like that, or I am not a true hero.
All the Centurion Cyclops can't tell a rusty old stretch of iron from an imaginary treasure. They say that Drunwyn takes the lives of all who besmirch its name.
For better or worse, the blade ended up in the baggage train, but no fire or fury was noticeably produced. Said train was escorted back to Massilia, where Rex found a runner with a sample of the wine from the presses he had been gifted in far-off Duna. Before he could take a sip, he was approached by a Roman soldier, bereft of tunic.
Rex?
Is that you?
No. What? I'm Erland of, the world.
Might as well drop all that, sir. You don't remember me, do you? Rex gave it a good go, but no luck. Sorry, no. You gave me a few boys to lead raiders away from your caravan up north. Must have been only a few weeks ago. Greek guy with the silly helmet was organising it all? You must remember. That happened a few times, so it's hard. By the stars. Do I smell wine there? Oh, yes. You want some? Go on then. The legionary took a swig, frowned as he swayed his head back and forth, until finally he swallowed and let out a long breath. Terrible. That from somewhere cold up east? Yeah. Didn't think they'd let rule like that into Massilia? Probably planning to send it down to Carthage and call it a luxury. What's that? They like horrible wine down there. So much of the good stuff about it that people get snobby about liking the weird stuff instead. What are you smirking at? This legionary, one Titus Pillow, soon found himself back in Rex's employ as an expert trader, tasked with squeezing the most out of the eye-watering produce of the champion's winemakers. Once all business in town was concluded, I went out again to look for the bandit lair. Couldn't find it at first, but I did find various small parties of regular bandits, so we'll take them down. Here was one such fight where I didn't really contribute anything because I was stuck in the menus while the main combat was going on, but didn't really need to do anything anyway. These bandits do occasionally drop some pretty expensive loot, so we can make decent money taking them down, and of course it's good old-fashioned revenge. Eventually I do find the bandit lair, pretty much in the same place it was before, so that's good to know. Looks like we have the chance to pay for the funeral of one of our old soldiers, so I'm going to do that. We've got quite a lot of money and that does enhance our reputation and is just generally nice. So yes, there's the bandit hideout. We'll go in and attack again. It's the same setup we saw earlier, but it didn't go quite so well there due to some bad blocking. I actually lost half my health when an enemy struck me, then we went on to kill all those guys. I also have both Clodolf and our new guy Titus Pullo wearing bandit armor because some of it's actually quite good. But that means I kept mistaking them for enemies, which doesn't help. I take another hit there, nearly going down, and as we grind our way through the opponents, I actually do get taken out. There's no penalty for losing the bandit base assaults, just means the base disappears as we saw earlier. Hopefully it won't disappear off just somewhere where we can't find it like the Sea Raider base did, because we can in theory go and reset the mission and just try again. On the way back to Massilia, I came across a small battle between some Massilian troops and some more bandits. Decided to jump in just to build myself some reputation and perhaps get a little bit of the loot. Didn't really contribute anything in this battle. I was just getting blocked and not really paying attention. Almost actually lost my horse as well. Some bad play there, but we still easily won. Once I got back to town, I was delighted to find there's a tournament going on. Very good news, so we'll definitely want to dive in on that. Once I joined the tournament, it was a difficult first round. I was being bombarded by most of the enemy team and they were throwing loads of javelins. I got hit, one hit my shield and then another one broke the shield and took me out, so I was actually knocked out of the tournament. However, because there are several tournaments in one day, I just joined the next one. At least now the weather's a bit better. This time things go fine, our teams do well in the early rounds. There was a round with 3 guys in it where the other 2 guys were just smashing each other senseless and ignoring me, so I can be very dishonourable and just sneak up, taking out one gladiator, then the other guys probably on low health were able to take him out once we get him dancing. When they're dancing you know they're doomed. Then here's the final. It was just loads of one-on-ones after that, which as I've said before are pretty much guaranteed wins as long as you keep your concentration and such. And there's the big load of money we were looking for, and some reputation with the town, which we can use now actually to buy a business if we get a little bit more money. So that can be the main objective of this tournament season. There will be several more tournaments, so we'll jump in on all of them, but I won't commentate on that since it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. One good outcome from all this was that Lunius Maximus was here watching the tournaments, so I can tell him I failed the quest. He's not mad at all, and he says just go try again. How nice of him, so maybe we still will be able to get even more money off him with another attempt at the bandit base assault. The next round of the tournament was starting, and Rex needed to make sure that Baghdata was still putting all their coin on Erland the champion. As he ran down the cobbled street from the governor's estate, he was watched by Lunius Maximus from a vine-covered balcony. Legatus Salinius stood behind him, scowling from a cool shadow. "I thought we were going to keep him here a little longer, Governor. Ask him those questions we talked about." "Are you mad, Marcus? He's got bouts to fight." "But if that prefect is telling the truth, if all rumours were true, there'd be a bandit from Narbo brandishing a flaming sword. Yet all I hear about is the state of the roads. A state improved dramatically by Erland, it is also rumoured." Salinius stepped up to the governor's side and lowered his voice. "Are we not going to be calling him Rex, then? You take Londinium too seriously. They'll say anything to distract us from their failures. Why do you like that boy so much? Please tell me it's nothing more than a professional relationship. Legatus, please. As well as putting on a bloody good show out there, he's helping me out with a favour I promised the Emperor. You've got a wanted man, an escaped slave charged with a scroll of murders, working on Imperial assignments. Lunius Maximus, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?" Lunius slapped his officer on the back and waved for a slave in the courtyard below to prepare his guards. Forget about Rex. It's an imperial matter, and that's all I can say. Trust me on this one, Marcus. Now let's see what Erland has in store for us this afternoon. Rex had sought fame and fortune, and he'd got them. His tournament winnings and his stake in an exotic wine trading route made him as rich as a minor lord, and able to keep his cadre of deserted soldiers as a permanent bodyguard. Suddenly the world was a lot less dangerous. A journey of countless more victories surely lay ahead, but would that journey actually produce a way into tightly guarded Italia? For now, the money, drink, and reasonable company stopped it from mattering. That is it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and a special thanks to all of the OfficiallyDevin patrons for making everything here happen. We'll be trying our hand as a trader as our quest for coin takes us back across the sea to Africa in the next part of Rex Romanum.